Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 8 of our Rockies rebuild here on Out of the Park Baseball 26. This is our first off season with the Rockies after what can be described as a disappointing season one, but obviously pales in comparison to what the Rockies are going through at the moment. As of recording, they just won their 10th game of the season last night. So, congratulations to them. If you're keeping track at home at the beginning of the season, we won our 10th game at the end of April. Actually, excuse me, the 1st of May when we beat the Giants 6-4. So we did it essentially a month before the Rockies did in real life. But nonetheless, I think a disappointing first season. We went 65 and 97 in terms of a win percentage that is their highest of the past 3 seasons, but much lower than where the Rockies were obviously in the mid late 2010s. So that aspect of it is disappointing. And the fans responded to match. Our market size has dropped to below average. Fan loyalty has dropped to minimal. In other words, the budget is going to be so much worse than it was before. The owner has set new goals for us. Next season, play close to 500 ball, improve your team's starting pitching ERA, build a top six minor league system, increase fan interest, improve your record in extra inning games, and then make the playoffs in the next 5 seasons. The extra inning game one was interesting. I had never seen that before. For reference, in extra inning games, in the month of April, we went 1-1, pretty simple. In the month of May, we went 0-2, little bit of a dip. July, we went 2-0. So that cancels out May. July, I think I said July for the last one. We went 0-1. August, we went, I believe, just 0-2. And then September to close, we went 0-3. So, in other words, we didn't really win an extra innings game after June. So I can see the owner's cause for concern. But the only goal he has for next year is just play close to 500 balls. So, from our perspective, winning fixes everything. Going into the offseason really quick, just to recap where we sort of finish as a team and where the problems lie. I think the problems of this team lie in two very big stats. Firstly, we were the worst team in the National League in on base percentage with 306. That is not good. Our OPS, though, was average, 714. So what that tells me is in terms of slugging, we're doing okay. We're getting the extra base hits, we're getting the home runs. We finished fifth in home runs in the National League for reference. So the power is there. You know, getting on base though is not. And then the pitching stat that kills you. Obviously, we had the worst bullpen ERA in the National League, but more importantly, last in strikeouts with 1,227. That strikeout number in particular needs to get fixed, especially because we are at Coors Field where the ball gets hit around quite a bit. So, let me just go through the lineup really quick where things stand at the moment. Tiago Estrada has taken his opt out. However, he also signed a contract extension with us for 2 years. I have no clue what this is going to look like when I go past the free agency filings day. I don't know if he'll just go to free agency and these 2 years essentially never happen, or if he just it glitches and he gets paid $0 for his services, in which case I'll probably go into the commissioner editor and you know pay him. I think it was 7 million, which is what he was owed if he doesn't take the opt out. So that aside, here's sort of where things stand. Chris Bryant at the moment is our DH for next season. He put together his best season since essentially joining the Rockies. 812 OPS. He hit 21 homers, WAR of 1.2. I would call that an above average DH. Maybe I'm being a little kind there. Um, but at the moment he's our DH. He's also on an untradeable contract. He's making 27 million for the next 3 seasons. I'm not going to trade that unless I can retain, and I would have to retain an insane amount of money, which is going to be quite difficult. Um, I have given thought, depending on how free agency goes, to putting him in the outfield, potentially as a swing outfielder sort of guy that can platoon like right field and DH, for example. But at the moment, Chris Bryant, he's our DH. Hunter Goodman at catcher. I would say Goodman had a fine year with a small asterisk at the end. He did get 20 homers. OPS was at 800, and then he happened to go 1 of 6 his last 2 games. So that dipped, unfortunately. But his slugging was 478. He hit 20 homers. Really happy with that. Where I'm a little bit concerned is if you go by his monthly breakdown in the BNN page, he was very streaky. He had a red hot April, and then May and June, he was one of the worst hitters on our team. That's why Austin Nola was essentially our starting catcher almost in June. July and August, though, he had an OPS of essentially 1.1. He was great, and then September came back down to earth. So if he's going to be our starting catcher of the future, which I plan him to be, he needs to be more consistent. Also, defensively, wasn't great. A negative 3.4 zone rating. He did have an error at first base also, and his arm was literally 0. Not impactful in the season at all. So that is something to be cognizant of. That's also why Drew Romo is our backup catcher next season. He has some, 70s defensive ratings. He has the captain personality. He has okay hitting ratings. I think he'll be fine as a backup. He doesn't want to be a backup, though. He wants to start, which I don't know why. Michael Toglia at first base. This is a no-brainer. He hit 34 home runs last season, slugging of 455. He was our best provider of power this season. And that's with, month of September at the end, he only hit 2 home runs the whole month. So he's going to be our starting first baseman. He's still on a minimum contract, which is insane. Defensively, I think my decision to play him at right field to start the year was one of my sillier ones. In 22 starts, he has a zone rating of -4, and his arm rating only granted out to a 2. So that was that. But I think Toglia did pretty good at first base. 7 errors as a first baseman is a bit much. If I were to, somehow trade Chris Bryant in this offseason, Toglia would move to DH, and I would find a new first baseman. Second baseman is a big question mark. I don't know how the game will work with Estrada opting out of a contract he signed an extension for. But he was our best hitter this season. Started 100 games due to injury. He had 16 home runs, 58 RBIs, OPS of an 827, worth 4 WAR, and defensively at second, he only had 6 errors, a zone rating of 11. That'll do. So if we can keep Estrada, obviously, sweet. If he goes to free agency, I fully intend to try to sign him. I don't know if I'll be able to sign him to the contract I already gave him, but we'll see. And at the moment, the backup plan at second is to give Ryan Ritter the ball and see if his play this year is consistent. Ritter, in about 84 starts, so about half the games of the season, he didn't hit a lot of home runs. He only had 10, but he had 72 hits. His on base percentage was above average for our team at 334, and he had no PS of 760. And quietly, defensively, he was pretty good. He has zone rating of 6 at shortstop, 8 errors. No slouch at second, though he did have 2 errors in under 20 starts, which little weird, a little shaky. But I mean, he's really good defensively. I think he's going to be more of just our classic backup utility infielder. But while his ratings aren't great, his production was, 2.4 WAR. He is currently lightly penciled in as our starting second baseman next season. Shortstop Ezekiel Tavar. At this point, I just need to give him a full season at shortstop and see if he can figure it out. Last season, obviously, was atrocious. Sub 7 OPS, sub 250 on base percentage. Don't even get me started. After I demoted him to the minors and he came back up in July, he had a great July, a horrible August, and a solid September. Just very inconsistent. The home run power essentially dissipated. He only had 9 homers for us. We need to get that, figured out. But at this point, I have to give him reps. And if he is bad in 2026, then we should consider trading him because his contract is only going to get more and more expensive. But if he does really well, this contract could become a bargain. So to find that, I need to play him, and therefore shortstop is taken. Third base, Ryan McMahon. I am not against trading him. The Gold Glove, sort of third base, defensively is nice. He had his own rating of 6.4, 9 errors, which in terms of his career fielding stats is pretty good. But the bat just wasn't there. 281 on base percentage, 636 OPS. He had posted the least home runs of essentially his entire Rockies career. I'm on the fence. We'll see. He is currently making $16 million next year and the year after that. This might be a good opportunity to get one of the bigger contracts off of our books and try to upgrade at third base because there is a very interesting third base free agent looming because naturally Alex Bregman took his opt-out with the Red Sox. Outfield. This is where things get a bit wacky. So we traded for Alek Thomas in the middle of the season from the Diamondbacks, and he wasn't great. I'm not gonna lie to you, it wasn't great. The power is likely worse than a 45 rating. He only hit 3 home runs with us. Only 8 walks. His on-base percentage was a 280. OPS just below 700. But the benefit of Alek Thomas is, especially defensively, he can play both left and right field. He's not a center fielder, which is where we played him the majority of the time. Negative 1.6 zone rating, and his arm was negative 6.6. So he's not a center fielder. If he's our worst starting outfielder, I think we're okay. But I think I'd prefer him in a more swing outfielder role. In terms of his production against lefties, was even worse. So that kind of limits his opportunities with us. But at the moment, he is on the team. Brenton Doyle is our center fielder. This is just going to be an objective truth until he becomes completely unplayable. He wasn't great this year, 290 on base percentage, 671 OPS. But the power was still there, 16 home runs. He struck out about 30 times less than he usually does in a full season of work. And defensively, I mean, you can't really beat it. He has a zone rating of 12.7. His arm was a negative 3. I don't really understand how that works when he got 8 assists on the season, which for center fielders ain't bad at all. That part, it's a little odd. But, he's got the speed. He had 40 steals this season. He's our starting center fielder, not really because of his bat, more so for his speed and his defensive ability. So he's our center fielder. That spot is locked down. Our starting right fielder this year was Sean Bouchard, who, don't get me wrong, wasn't bad. Like, for our season, he was average. 311 on base percentage, 709 OPS. He hit 12 home runs. However, 12 home runs is only one more homer than he hit last year, and he started in 60 more games. His strikeouts essentially tripled. He's averaging one strikeout per game. And defensively, he was horrible. 38 starts at left field, negative 4.2 zone rating, not a single assist, negative 2 arm. Right field, 57 starts, did get 4 assists, but had 2 errors, negative 3 zone rating, and negative 0.1 arm. That's really bad, especially for someone with 50s and 55s defensively. At the moment, Sean Bouchard is up for arbitration, and I have withdrawn his arbitration contract. Bouchard is going to be leaving the Rockies. I think we need to upgrade at the outfield somehow. And realistically, there's no way I do that. If I keep Alek Thomas, I keep Sean Bouchard, and then we'd also have one of Zach Veen or Jordan Beck running around. That's just too many outfielders. So Sean Bouchard, we wish him the best of luck. We'll send him on his way. To that end, Zach Veen and Jordan Beck were essentially identical players. And nothing will bear this out by just comparing the men really quick. They are identical players, essentially to a T. Their current rating are identical. Potential-wise, I think you like Beck a bit more. Slightly better K potential, better I potential. Beck is without question better against lefties. However, Zach Veen is quicker. Defensively, I would take Veen. I think give me the 10 better arm and 5 better range over 5 error. But they are essentially identical players. It makes very little sense to carry both of them on the team. Veen, obviously, his counting stats look better because he got handful more starts, about almost 80 more plate appearances, so that's going to look better. However, neither of them particularly hit the cover off the ball. They both had a sub 3 on base percentage. They both had a sub 350 slugging, sub 70 on base percentage, so on and so forth. So that's something to be cognizant of. We can't really keep both and make it make sense. Zach Veen hasn't had a lot of AAA experience, less than 50 starts. Jordan Beck also is about that same amount. We'll see. But one of them will likely be traded this offseason because keeping both doesn't really make sense, especially with Alek Thomas. And putting them in AAA doesn't feel like a great use of their services for us. So, that is my lineup. At the moment, I have Ryan Ritter penciled in at second and Alek Thomas penciled in at left field. Everything else is set. Chris Bryant, DH, Goodman, catch, Toglia at first, Tovar short, Brenton Doyle at center field. All the other starting positions are effectively up for grabs. Now let's talk pitching. There's no way around this. Not a lot of it was good. Let's just get that sentence out of the way. Our best pitcher this season was Spencer Turnbull, which, had you told me that at the start of the season, I would have just started crying. But he is an example of why minor league free agent signings in year one often bear a lot of fruit. He gave me 175 innings, 156 Ks, whip of 1.2, 8 Ks per 9, Very solid work. He almost pitched a complete game against the Mariners to close out his season. Very, very happy with his production. We're 2.8 WAR, and let's be frank, he's going to be a little older next season. He'll be 33, turning 34, but I think it's worth it. We signed him to a 1-year contract extension, worth 4.5 million, which I think for a mid-rotation starter is perfectly fair. But Turnbull proved that we could count on him, so here's hoping we can count on him next year as well. Kyle Freeland, if we cannot trade him by spring training or the end of spring training, I will just release him. He's making 16 million next year, 17 the year after that. This is the Antonio Senzatella and Herman Marquez situation where the arm is just completely fallen off, which really does suck. I mean, Freeland, he gave me 128 innings before he had a season-ending injury. WHIP of 1.48. The Ks are just never going to be there, only 6.8. The walks were up from last year. WAR a 0.7. The arm is gone. It just is. And that, is unfortunate. He's had minimal gains due to his control and his sinker, but that minimal gain to his sinker only got it up to a 35. He has nothing. So we can't trade him. We're going to thank him for his services and cut him. Next on the list, so Scott Randall. I am moving Scott Randall to the bullpen. My argument is, in the starting rotation especially, I need to prioritize guys that can get strikeouts and guys that don't give up as many home runs. Randall only had 7 Ks per 9 and gave about 1.4 home runs per game. Now, his whip of 1.17, shout out the Master Chief, great. His BABIP of 255, nice. On the other hand, he never really went deep into games. He pitched 162 innings in 30 starts. For those sitting at home, that's essentially 5 innings and then an out. So that is something to be cognizant of. He does have really good control, 60 control. His stuff is better because he's penciled in as a reliever right now. I like him as a long reliever more than I do a starter. Part of the reason is we have Sean Burke in our rotation who does not have the control. Let's get that out of the way. What he does have is a propensity to get strikeouts. 9 strikeouts per 9 is beautiful. More of that, less everything else. So he gave up less than a homer per game. Walks were high, let's be clear, 4.4. Bit shaky there. But his stuff is literally the best on our entire team. I'm not going to waste that as a long reliever. So Burke, by virtue of that, in our starting rotation, a WAR of 2 also. And then Bobby Miller. So it was between Bobby Miller and Randall for who stays in the rotation and who moves to long relief. Miller does have the Ks, 9.3 per 9. However, he walks 4.3 player guys and 1.4 home runs. So same as Randall. His whip was worse than Randall. His BABIP was worse. But his stuff is only getting better. His control only getting better. I think Bobby Miller is someone that we can grow into a very solid reliever for us, especially if these all potential out, and we'll be in business. That is my current rotation. Turnbull, Burke, and Miller. I need 2 starters acquired through either free agency or through trade, because even though I like Gabriel Hughes, his stuff is just not good. He needs some more time in AAA until I can kind of figure out whether I want him to be a back-end starter or a long reliever. Bullpen, this is really easy. I am trimming my bullpen down to size. Lucas Gilbreth is going to be off the team. John Means is going to be off the team. James Norwood is going to be off the team. This is a good opportunity just to cut a lot of the bullpen guys that were not performing. Molina is going to be our closer, 20 saves. He's very young. His stuff is still growing. We really need it to develop next season, or else we could be in a lot of trouble. Seth Halverson, obviously an up and down season. He was in AAA for half the season. Didn't do particularly great. 1.65 whip is terrifying, as are the 5.6 walks. But again, him and Molina, they're growing into their roles. Angel Chivilli is probably on par with our best reliever from last season in terms of stats. Sub 1 whip, 152 BABIP. However, a negative WAR because he did tragically give up quite a few home runs. But Chivilli, good setup, man. Probably going to move to setup to pair with Halverson. Victor Vodnik suffered from the worst September of any pitcher. Let me just read his stats here. 5 games pitched, 4.2 innings, 11 hits, 11 earned runs, 4 homers, 6 walks, and 5 Ks for a whip of 21-21. So that kind of ballooned all of his numbers to insane proportions, but he was a really solid pitcher for us. He, like Molina, like Halverson, the stuff is still developing. The control is a bit shaky. He is kind of on the quote-unquote proverbial hot seat in terms of relievers for us, but I think he can maintain as a strong reliever for us. And then Seth Romero, who outside of Angel Chivilli was our best reliever last season. He was our all-star this past season. And overall, very, very good pitcher. 83 innings, whip of 1.16, sub 1, homers, 10 Ks per 9, 276 BABIP. He did really, really well. He also suffered from a not too great end of the season where after he was an all-star, his play, significantly worsened. But still very confident in him, obviously, that he can be a good player for us. So at the moment, our bullpen stands at 6 players, so we need to add 2 more bullpen options because while I like Will Klein's profile, the 40 control and 45 movement is a bit terrifying. He was very poor in limited opportunities for us, so we'll see what he can do in the minors next season. So that is where we're at. I think in summation as a team, we need at least 1 outfielder. We need to figure out whether Estrada is going to stay or go, whether Ryan McMahon is going to stay or go. Pitching, we need multiple starters, guys that get a lot of Ks. We need 1 lefty. That just goes without saying. And then bullpen, I think we need to prioritize guys that A, can get strikeouts, but also B, have a decent level of control. Because one of the downsides is sort of trimming the fat, as it were, is that John Means with 60 control, he's going to be gone. Kyle Freeland, 55 control, he's going to be gone. Gabriel Hughes, 50 control, he's going to be in the minors. That's 3 of our top 5 control guys all gone. So we need to get that sorted. In terms of arbitration, here's what I've done. Ryan Feltner, obviously, we are withdrawing an arbitration offer. He only pitched 9 starts with us at the beginning of the season. He was terrible, and then I sent him down to the minors where he was okay, I think. Ks weren't really there, a lot of home runs. Not a real spot for him on this team. So Ryan is out of here. Ronnie Garcia, I am letting walk. A big reason for it is he suffered a season-ending UCL elbow injury, which usually nukes things like, control, stamina, which were part of the reasons he was on this team. I think Ronnie did okay. The Ks weren't there. The BAPIP at 252, though, pretty solid. 1.3 whip. He was able to get me 2 innings more often than not. He even gave me 4 innings on one such occasion against the Orioles, and then the AI pitched him the next day like morons. But that's beside the point. He had a really good end of the season in July and August, but then had the season-ending injury. Um, I think we're going to let Ronnie go and use this as an opportunity to bring in a guy who can get me more control, can get me more strikeouts. However, we must thank Ronnie for his season contributions because he gave me 73 innings. It's not nothing. Elsewhere, Lucas Ilbreth is gone. This was always going to happen. He was one of my September call-ups. Didn't pitch particularly well. His control's a 35. He's going to be 30 years old next season with not great stuff. We're going to let him go. Greener pastures. Austin Nola, who I thought would retire, he didn't. He was our backup catcher for part of the year. And then we sent him down to AAA and then called him up again toward the end of the season when Jerome went down. But I mean, he did fine. 670 OPS, hit a couple of home runs. Is what it is. There was a part of the season where he had kind of supplanted Hunter Goodman in June as our starting catcher, but even then cooled off immensely. Didn't hit the ball particularly well. So Austin Nola, we will let go to see where he lands in his year 36 season. So all 4 of those players we are withdrawing from. The other withdrawal, as I said, was Sean Bouchard. 3 players we're keeping. I am offering Owen Miller an arbitration contract. I don't know yet if he's going to be a part of our team next season as a backup utility infielder. Defensively at the majors, I played him mostly at third and first. He is not a third baseman. Negative 0.5 zone rating. Not the best, especially in that small sample size. First base and second, though, he was positive. In AAA, they played him mostly at first base. He did not so hot, but better at second and third. So I have options there. I have offered him $1.25 million. Alek Thomas, like I said, we're going to keep and let him compete for that left field spot. I've offered him $2.25 million, and then Brenton Doyle, I'm offering $2.4 as our starting center fielder. I have to make sure that all of these are submitted. Yeah, they are. All right. So that's arbitration. John Means obviously is going away as he is a free agent. Didn't pitch great. Didn't pitch terrible either. Good control, but horrendous stuff. Opposite conversation for James Norwood, who had great stuff, but the control was abysmal. And while he did, to his credit, put together a phenomenal no run allowed September, everything else was bad. So Norwood we're going to let walk, as well as this group of minor leaguers. So let us advance through arbitration. See you sign. All right, Owen Miller gets 1.25, which was the team's preference. Brenton Doyle, 2.4, the team's preference. Alek Thomas gets 2.6, though, which was his submission. So Alek Thomas gets paid a little bit more, which is fair. The Braves have sent me a trade proposal. Kelenic for Ryan Ritter. I mean, no. Like, the answer is no. I mean, Jared Kelenic could be good for us. He's essentially Sean Bouchard, and we all saw how that went. think at that point I'd rather keep Ryan Ritter. Let us reject. All right, the international free agents file. Let me pull up the international. Well, that's the amateurs. In terms of international free agents, I believe there was there weren't any pitchers that I particularly liked, and it's just overall not a great group. The two guys that are kind of interesting, Yuichiro Ogawa, who has already been signed by the Washington Nationals at post haste to be a second baseman, and Hila Lumo, who currently is unsigned. He is, however, horrendous defensively, has no speed whatsoever, but could have an interesting little bat there. I am going to request a scouting report on him just to see if any of these batting ratings are better than they appear. So, all right, free agents have filed. And Estrada is still here. Okay. So it moved his contract extension to this year. Okay. So essentially then in 2026 he gets a $4 million raise from 7 million to 11 million. And then we get the team opt out if we want. Sweet. Okay, so that solves that issue. Ritter then will be a backup. Estrada, if I remember correctly, I want hitting second. Yep. All right, cool. Well, that solves second base. I'm glad that's how it coded it. So, okay. So, second baseman solved easy. In terms of finances, we have $47 million US available in free agency. That'll do. Let me look at the offseason summary by team. At the moment, before anything has happened, we have lost 1.1 in WAR. Ryan Feltner with 0.7 of that from his 9 starts. So there's that. Kenta Maeda got 1.3 WAR. Craziness. How'd Tommy Kahnle do last year? He did pretty good. Do I think there's more left in the arm? I mean, he wants a minor league contract. In all honesty, if I can just get him on a minor league contract and then have him in AAA if I need him, sure, I'll make that deal. Aroldis Chapman is available. Can you imagine Aroldis Chapman at Coors Field? The insanity alone. All right. Anyway, so in terms of free agents, Kyle Tucker obviously is available. He wants $45 million, which, if you're keeping track at home, that is my entire free agent budget. So yeah, he is effectively out of our price range. I wouldn't hate the idea of like doing a 6-year deal that, let's say I pay him 35 the first year, 38 the second year. He gets the opt out, and then the money goes crazy. We're talking 45 million, 46 million, and then let's just drop it down to 45, and then this final year can also be a 45. However, instead of an option, it's a team option, and I will pay him $2 million in a buyout. Like that's realistically, I think, what I can offer Kyle Tucker to where we could do it. He wants 4.6 buyout instead. I don't hate that. And the other question is like, is Kyle Tucker worth, $45 million? I'll submit the offer. Odds are he gets back to me and he's like, I'm sorry, not doing that. And we can just go from there. In terms of his fielding ability at right field, he was great. Zone rating of 11.7, positive arm, really solid. Bregman is also available. I'm tempted to go in for Bregman, but the issue with Bregman is let me just compare him to who I currently got in McMahon. Like, his avoid case is definitely better, don't get me wrong. He's much better against lefties, but I don't know if he's such an upgrade that it's worth going in for him compared to someone like Kyle Tucker. So at the moment, we're holding off on Bregman. We're going to hear back from Kyle Tucker, see what he wants. That's plan A at least. Plan B in terms of outfielders is not the greatest. A lot of these guys are going to want, mid high 20s in terms of millions just to sort of get even my foot in the negotiating door. Another guy who I liked is Alec Burleson, who, if we're just going like get me a bat in the lineup that can hit, I think Burleson wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. The issue is defensively, not great. For the Cardinals this season, they mainly DH'd him because he was a negative 4.5 zone rating and right, negative 2.3 zone rating left. So he would be another example like Michael Toglia, where if Chris Bryant wasn't on this team, he could be our DH. But say Levy. Will Brennan, if we want to go a little more like banking on potential, he got less starts than the year previous with the Guardians, but still did pretty well. I think my concern, obviously, is the 40-eye. Means he's not really going to walk, doesn't hit for that much power. He could be an option, sort of a swing outfielder, but I already have those. So, let's just compare him really quick to, let's say, Zach Veen. So, I mean, he's better against lefties than Veen. I think potential-wise, I like it a bit more. Veen is also 3 years younger, to be fair. Beck, I think Beck's potential is a bit better. I don't hate the idea of Will Brennan. I think that is one to keep an eye on. Let me request a scouting report on him just to see how that looks. The third base market is grim, must be said. After Bregman, your best bet is like a 34-year-old Eugenio Suarez or like a 35-year-old Max Muncy. No one really wants that. I've given thought to Willie Castro, who the Twins didn't really play at third, but he wasn't good at second or short. So who knows how that'll work. But he could hold down the fort offensively for us if needed, be a kind of utility guy also. But yeah, the third base market isn't great. That's why I'm hoping that I hear back on Kyle Tucker soon so that I can determine if whether going in on Alex Bregman is something that we want to do. It also should be said the Red Sox played the Astros and Bregman went 4 for 9 with a walk and 2 Ks. So, all right, let's talk pitching. So, pitching is an okay free agent group right now. In terms of just getting the lefty aspect out of the way, not a lot of great options. Brandon Woodruff is available. He's got great stuff, okay control, pitched pretty well for the Brewers last year. We have a very high accuracy on him, so this is what we would get if we go in for Brandon Woodruff. He made 27 starts last season and only had a brief, I think, late start to the season with the injury. Other lefties, Nick Martinez, who I can already tell you is a no. The stuff just isn't there relative to the money he wants. He's going to be 30. He's 35 years old. That's not really an option for us. And then you get to like an injured Jordan Montgomery recovering from Tommy John or 33-year-old Noah Syndergaard who just played an independent ball. So, yeah, the lefty group isn't great. Um, Woodruff, I think, could be solid. How many years does he want? 5? So you're going to be 33 next year. 5 years is a bit much. I think I might hold off on Woodruff at the moment. I've put scouting in for Michael Keane. Michael Keane, who, again, great stuff. Average, above average pitching ratings. Suffers a similar problem as Scott Randall, where he never really goes that deep into games. 170 innings over 33 starts. That should be about like, again, 5.1. So similar problem to Randall. Griffin Canning, this would be like break glass in case of emergency option, where he pitched well with the Mets last year, but he's still developing into his stuff a little bit. Not really a huge strikeout guy, whereas like, Michael King averaged 9.5 Ks per nine. Brendan Woodruff averaged 8.4. Dylan Cease, to be clear, is out of our price range, though I do admit could be kind of fun. I am tempted almost to just rescind my offer of Kyle Tucker and just splash that money elsewhere. I think I'll advance one day and see if we hear from Kyle Tucker. Oh yeah, Jeff Criswell activated. All right, so we signed a couple minor league guys like Kai Peterson. I signed to a minor league deal just for the heck of it. He could potentially have maxed out stuff with 25 control, and doesn't that just seem fun? Oh no, he signed with Detroit. The liar. All right, whatever. We got new first base coach Kevin Batista, who has outstanding in-game running. Need I say more? And the Giants have sent me a trade proposal. They would like to send me right fielder Benny Montgomery. Oh no, they want Benny Montgomery. Okay. They want to give me Tristan Beck. No. Like, he does get a lot of Ks. He also gives up 1.6 home runs per game. I mean, he would be a long reliever for me, similar to where he was with the Giants last year. It looks like they sent him down to AAA halfway through the season, but then they also paid him arbitration. Fair enough. Hmm. I wish the curveball or changeup were like a touch better. I don't hate Tristan Beck, if I'm being honest with you. Then the question becomes, do I think Benny Montgomery is someone that we can count on in the future? He's 23 years old, just spent almost the entire season in Double A and did very well for himself. Plus defender at every level. I think I'll move him to AAA for next season. What else would they want for Tristan Beck? Jordan Beck. They would take Cole Carrig, who hmm, part of me is okay because I think I'm going to run into the issue where I have too many of these early mid-20s outfielders to the point where like some of them are just gonna need to play the game of baseball somewhere. Also, Montgomery isn't on this list of players. Oh, he wants more than Benny Montgomery. What an annoying guy. So Cole Carrick would make the deal go through. I don't think I want him. I think Tristan Beck could be interesting, but the price I think is a little too high. Or is it? Nah, I'm out. Let us reject the deal in advance of day once. All right, so we have a full report on Kyle Tucker. Yeah, I mean, he's good. Like, he's great. But the issue I think I'm going to run into with Kyle Tucker is it's essentially do we get Kyle Tucker and like no one else? Or do we go for, say, a better quality of starters and accept the fact that we're not going to get Kyle? I think what honestly I might do is wait until I hear back about Michael King, Griffin Canning before making that decision. But at some point, Kyle, I need you to tell me if I am short or not. Ooh, Jesse Winker. Scouting report is back. I mean, it is really tempting. I'm really tempted to see what a 50 avoid Kane 75 I plays at Coors. He just didn't play last year with the Mets, which is infuriating. And defensively, I mean, -7 zone rating in left. So he would only play in right field. Hmm. I don't hate that idea. I need Kyle Tucker to yell at me. Like, please. Lamont Wade Jr., who I debated bringing in to take Taglia's place. I think he's just going to want too much money. But again, above average, really good eye. Ooh, Michael King. I mean, I like the stuff. The control's good. I really want to know why he pitched so poorly with the Padres last year compared to how he did before. All right, trade proposals. The Giants would like to give me Jordan Hicks. Hmm. Hmm. And Randry De Leon, who is a reliever. Let's get that out of the way. He's a reliever is not terrible. I mean, I am very hesitant to trade Zach Veen, who just got his first taste of majors and still has solid potential. Jordan Hicks, I don't think is really the answer for us. His control isn't great. I think we clear it and decline it. Orioles, what would you like? You would like Ryan Ritter and Robert Collins? Okay, relax. In exchange for in exchange for Felix Bautista. Okay. And Luis De Leon, who is a really good pitcher. Why are they doing this deal? Just money? They don't want to pay Bautista? Well, I mean this makes things interesting. I mean, if we get Bautista, there's our closer for next year. Like done. That improves our bullpen substantially. Luis De Leon also projects to be a pretty good pitcher, though the control is very shaky. In exchange for Robert Calles, who I don't love the idea of trading from a prospect perspective. He did really well in single A and already is solid defensively. And Ryan Ritter. My issue with trading Ryan Ritter is if I do that and Tovar doesn't play well, I have no bailout option. That's where I'm a little hesitant. But Felix Bautista gets us like our starting closer without question. Would they do it? Wait, did they not even want Ritter? What? Huh? The answer is no. But and now they're saying let's do it. Very confusing from the GM. So do I give up Ryan Ritter for Felix Bautista? I kind of want to do this. Robert Callas, getting rid of him is a bit frustrating. Do I think I need Felix Bautista? Or do I just, continue to roll the dice with Molina as a potential closer? I mean, Molina also wasn't great. He had a good August, good June, good September. I'm going to do the deal. Done. The deal is done. The fan interest decreases slightly for Ryan Ritter, but then increases notably for Bautista. Okay, so I think we are then, best of luck to Ryan Ritter. Felix Bautista comes in and obviously is immediately our closer. So Molina is going to move off the closer role and take that second setup spot. Bautista closer. And then Luis De Leon is going to chill in Double A. Okay. All right. There we go. We have traded, potentially one of our better outfield prospects in Robert Callas and Ryan Ritter, who was very dependable for us last season, but a bit worried of his regression. In exchange, we get Felix Bautista, signed, sealed, delivered, and a very good pitching prospect in Luis De Leon. Okay, well, that addresses one of our big bullpen concerns. Pretty good. Bautista is a righty. That makes things a bit more annoying. All right. Griffin Canning has been fully scouted. Yeah, no, I think. I'll think about it. All right. If Kyle Tucker doesn't get back to me tomorrow by December 1st, I'm rescinding my offer and going elsewhere. Trade proposal. They want Zach Levine for Andrew Abbott. I do not want Andrew Abbott. For Zach Levine. Do I trade Jeromo? Andrew Abbott, the stuff is a concern. The fact that they only gave him 9 starts is also a bit annoying. Nah, the Ks aren't there. And I would be too hesitant. Nah. All right, I'm rescinding my offer from Kyle Tucker. I did at this point. I risk losing out on a lot of other prospects. So we're going to withdraw Kyle Tucker. Okay, let us do my starters. So Brandon Woodruff, I think I only want to sign if it's like a 2-year deal ain't bad. Woodruff, I think, would be good. Michael King, also, no complaints. I can get both, to be fair. Extreme fly ball hitter, you say? I mean, he did allow 1.5 home runs per nine. Woodruff allowed 1.4. Let me compare the two. So with Woodruff, I'm getting better against BAFIP. King gets me better movement. I would say Woodruff is much better against lefties. King has a better fastball slider, but Woodruff has a good curve. This season, King pitched in a lot more games, so his counting stats are all pretty higher. So he averages essentially 5 more hits per start. I mean, I can get both. Like that is on the table. I think Woodruff I want. 2 years, 180 innings pitched is a bit silly. He's not getting that. Oh, the money left. What happened on my money? I'm gonna advance one day in case my withdrawing the Kyle Tucker contract didn't save. Will Brennan? I mean, at that point, I'd rather play the kids. Like, I accept the fact Will Brennan probably a very dependable outfielder, but at that point, I'd rather play the kids. If he doesn't want a minor league contract. Never mind. There we go. Okay, our money's back. Yeah, so it just didn't count the Kyle Tucker thing yet. All right, so Woodruff, I would like a team option, not even a vested option. I think I am willing to pay him a bit more than he wants. Let's call it 13 million, and then drop the second year to 9.5. I'm willing to do that. He does not like the team option. He wants some money paid with that. 950,000. That's fine. I'd prefer that to the vesting option, honestly. And then, am I going in for Michael King, or do I want to just roll the chuck it for Dylan? I don't think I want Dylan Cease. I think I want Michael King. I'm going to go for both. King wants 3 years, which that's okay. But let's try. Honestly, do I just offer him 12 each? I'm going to offer him a little bit less on the back end. All right, let's see if we can get him in. So that means I have 18 million left. I have very little money for extensions. Who would I extend? Literally no one. Like, Turnbull is my only upcoming free agent. Oh yeah, arbitration's about to explode for some of these guys. That's okay. All right, let's finish the day. Advance a couple days. Trade proposal from the Nationals. They want to give me Alex Hall. Now that I am tempted. The Royals want to give me Chris Vivich, who I don't love. Or do I? Who do they want? They want Benny Montgomery. Well, I just traded away. No, I declined this. Well, I think I'm going to decline it now. And Woodruff, if I don't get Woodruff or Michael King, then I come back to the Royals offer. All right, Nationals. So they want Braxton Fulford, who was really good in AAA, but unfortunately is going to be 27. So I have no issue trading him. They want to give me Alex Call. I kind of like that. I like Alex Call. Let me compare Alex Call to some of the guys I got already. Alec Thomas. So Call, who is 31, by the way. Call gets me better avoid K, much better I. I would say I like him more against lefties. Defensive ratings, Call loses to Thomas. What about Zach V? Yeah, his I and avoid K is just really good. I almost kind of want to do it. Now, I like him more than Jordan Beck. I think we take this deal. We're losing Braxton Fulford, who really he doesn't have a path to the majors. I accept he's a good catcher, very good baseball player. He doesn't have a path to the majors for us. Like he just doesn't. And Alex Call, at worst, is a swing outfielder that is gonna get on base. I think we do the deal. So Alex Call, welcome. Is he our solution at right field? Maybe, maybe not. But I like that. I like that a lot, I think. I think at this point, Jordan Beck is probably going to start in AAA again. Part of me is tempted to float Zach Veen to see if anybody wants him, but we'll see. Does anyone want Chris Bryant just while I'm here? Didn't think so. Anyone want Chris Bryant if I retain 50%? 75? I'm not that desperate. No, I think Chris Bryant, he's gonna be on our DH squad. Anyone want Kyle Freeland? Because realistically, I want to kind of do this now so that I can just get money off the books, but nobody wants these guys, man. Oh boy. The Red Sox would send me Yoshida. Eh. Kind of Yoshida. Owen Miller and no, no, no. What I am trying to save money. Red Sox. Do you not see my financial situation? No, get out. The White Sox would send me Mike Tauchman. I just traded for Alex Call. Why would I want older, worse version of Alex Call? Get out. Also, why does everyone want Owen Miller? That's the real question. All right, Kyle Freeland, let's make a concerted effort to get you off my baseball team. I will retain 60%. Does your contract have any opt outs? A player opt out. 2 years. I mean, no. Like, If we didn't have Brenton Doyle, I would almost be tempted, but he's making like over 23 million. Not worthy of being a starter. We would lose money in this also, wouldn't we? Yeah, we would lose 16 million in this. Get out. No. Oh boy. All right, Hall of Fame voting begins. Let's do this super quick. All right. So first of all, Beltron in the hall. Fight me. Anyone else really close? Andrew Jones, yes. Yeah, no one else is really close. Man, there's a lot of first timers on this list. Bring me Ryan Braun for the controversy. Put him on. Curtis Granderson, because he's one of my personal favorite players, even though, let's be frank, he doesn't deserve to get in the hall. Who cares? King Hernandez, put him in. Ian Kinsler. Let's go. Brian McCann made 7 All-Stars. Neat. Dustin Pedroia, I think, has an argument. Not saying I'd put him in, but he has an argument. A-Rod. I think let's help him out a bit. K-Rod, listen, I saw this man pitch for the Tigers and thought he was one of the worst pitchers I'd ever seen. To be fair, it could be true. Fernando Rodney, because I'm biased. CC Sabathia in. I think he has the argument. To be fair, none of these guys are getting in. And then Ichiro. I think I'm going to drop. I'm dropping Fernando Rodney to put in Troy Tulowitzki. How can I not? In a Rockies rebuild. There's my ballot. Like 2 of those guys will probably get in, but it's fine. All right, Junior Williams has signed a contract. He is old for a prospect, but he still has a lot of potential to work out. Could be very solid. The Reds would like to send me. Oh boy, there's like 6 players in this. By that I mean 4. They want to send me Justin Falk, who is horrible, and Ariel Almonte, who is also bad. No, I'm not even going to bother to look at who they wanted. That's abysmal. No. Go away. Kyle Tucker signs with Baltimore. How much? My offer was so much better. I know I rescinded it, but regardless, he didn't say he liked my offer. My offer was so much better. What are you doing? That's just annoying. The Royals want to send me quit it. None of these pitchers are getting back to me. Woodruff. Okay, so I'm in the lead for Brandon Woodruff, which is neat. I currently have 17 million left for free agents. How much does Bregman want? Let's walk into the door with Scott Boras and discuss Alex Bregman. 6-year deal. I'm not giving him 6. I'm giving him 4. Here's how we're gonna do this. I will write you a personal check for $15 million. Okay? Okay. I will then up that money $20 million in year 2, $22 million in final year. 550 plate appearances is insane. Team option. And then team option for $20 million, after which I will write you a check for $1 million in a buyout if you take it. Include a no trade clause. Fine. What do you think? He doesn't like a team option. He wants $2 million buyout. I think that's fine. He disagrees with me completely. All right, so 6 years isn't happening. Let's do 5. And he gets a player option, then I get a team option. This money, the year 1 money needs to go down, or else I can't sign him. So I will up year 2, and year 3. I understand this is more money, but year 1 is what's killing me right now. And then I'll give him the $2 million buyout that he wants. And you know what? Listen, if you become an all-star, $250,000. If you get MVP, 500,000. What say you? I hate Scott Boras. All right, so if 6 years is a sticking point, I'm gonna be honest. No. Like, even if he retires after, say, 2029 or 2030, it's not worth it. Nah. All right, we're walking away. We're changing our tune to Junior Suarez. No, I think, like, what do you, oh, Kyle Farmer doesn't have any up. Somebody pay Kyle Farmer his money. I am so annoyed that Kyle Farmer took that low deal. I don't regret withdrawing my deal because had I not, I could have lost all the pitchers I'm going for, but that is a bit annoying. I'm talking myself more and more to Alec Burleson, but realistically, I can't do that. Here's a question. Mr. McMahon, what are your suitors? Well, this is a depressing list. I mean, how did Stanton do last year? Did he get injured? Yep. Not one, not two, 3 injuries for Mr. Stanton. Lord. What a contract. I mean, yeah, none of these are. The fact that I would have to. Hear me out. Hear me out. What about, like, just prospect wise? Yeah, no. I mean, no one. He just did so bad last year. He did so bad relative to the fact that he's on 16 million. What if I retain 30%? So about 5 million. Okay, I'm Chris. Ooh. Angel Zerpa. That is tempting. Is that worth losing Ryan McMahon, though? Zerpa is tempting. 33-year-old Zendo Bogarts could also be interesting. Really, Adamas. Listen, I already have a potentially overpaid shortstop, even though Adamas is objectively better. Don't get me wrong. I think we might be able to do this. I need to find just which bullpen prospect I want to ship off. Not Ozuna. I think I get rid of Camacho. Because realistically, even though it can be great, he's 18 years old. So this would do it. Can I get a little bit less? At that point, I'll do 15. So here's the question, Royals. Any prospects you want to send my way? No. Carter Jensen wouldn't be a bad shout. No. Okay, so they don't want to give up like a good prospect. That's fine. What about Jackson Wiggins? Nah, they do Wiggins, but I have to give up a prospect of similar repute. What about this gentleman? Do I want him? I do. So can I go down to 10%? I can. Can I go down to 5? No. So is it worth losing Ryan McMahon? This is essentially a question of, do I think a potential Ryan McMahon bounce back season is worth $16 million? I honestly think the answer is no. I honestly think the answer is no. We get 12.3 million out of this, which could be enough to get Bregman if Bregman is what we want. This also gets us Angel Zerpa, who probably goes into our bullpen immediately. I think, don't get me wrong, his whip has been bad, his BABIP is bad, but he's got the Ks. His stuff is only going to get better. I think Zerpa's pretty solid. I also like Matt Chechek, who could potentially become like, an above average bullpen guy for us. He does only have 2 pitches, and he's definitely going to be in probably AAA for us. I think that's a deal worth doing. The fans and players are going to be mad. Yeah. But listen, at a certain point, we need money. And don't get me wrong, Ryan McMahon, great defender. No one's disputing that. But we need money. And at a certain point, that kind of trumps everything. Let us keep Matt in AA. And Zerpa, at the moment, Zerpa is going to. I think I'm going to move Vodden. Yeah, I think Zerpa goes. Zerpa's also a lefty, so he gives us a second lefty. So that's our bullpen. Felix Bautista close. Halverson, Molina setup men. Chivilli, Zerpa, Vodnik middle relief. Romero, Randall long relief. That's our bullpen. I think that's an objective upgrade after last season, especially getting Felix Bautista. So now bullpen is done. We have no third baseman. Owen Miller, time to trade in your first baseman's glove. Because if I remember correctly, third base is, it's the position where, like, the solution is just Charlie Condon, who isn't ready. So, we need a third baseman somehow, some way. Any third baseman on the trading block? Answer, not really. I mean, Edmundo Sousa. No, I talked myself out of that almost immediately. All right, so now we've 30. Now we can get Bregman if we want Bregman. We can get Bregman if we want Bregman. But also, at that point, no, he's a clear upgrade over McMahon. Never mind. I think we can get Bregman if we want Bregman. All right, so he really wants 6 years. If that's the case, I'm having a team option first, where I will pay him a insane amount for a buyout, $3 million. Let me use for all. All right, so year 1, now that we have the money to do it, I am more than happy to front load this. I will give you 25 million year 1, 23 year 2, 20, 20, 18, This last year is kind of irrelevant because we take the team option anyway. 5 out of 3 makes it 17. So that's fine. And then All-Star, let's up that to $250,000. MVP, 500,000. All right, Scott Boris, I think this is more than reasonable. Boris agrees. Okay. That deal also operates under the assumption that Bregman either retires before the team option or I take the team option. That's just kind of where we're at right now. Okay. Yeah, Sean Bouchard, where'd he sign? He signed with the Pirates for a 3-year deal, $7.6 million each year. Okay. Best of luck to you. It's a chunk of change right there. Bregman. Okay. He favors our offer. Michael King favors our offer. Tommy Canley. Yeah, he wants to be a major leaguer, and realistically now, because we got Zerpa and Bautista, there's no spot from there. Draft lottery results. Second. Oh, the White Sox dropped to 5th. That's rough. That's what they get. Okay, so in summation at the moment, we have 4.5 million left. Woodruff, Bregman, and King all favor our offer. I mean, look, if Luis Guilherme wants a minor league deal, it's his. Like, come on. Now I think we need to shift gears to actively trading Kyle Freeland. If I do 50%, nothing. 75. No one wants this guy, man. To be fair, it's obvious why. But even then, like, if I say 90%, I save like 1.5 million, and it's Keibert Ruiz. Did he get injured last year? I was out for 5 weeks. Like, nobody wants Kyle Freeland. I think that's pretty much it in terms of like trading guys. Like Chris Bryant, realistically, we're not going to be able to trade. Kyle Freeland, send help. Like, nobody wants this guy. Jeff Criswell, by the by, when he comes back, because I think he'll be back for spring training. Yeah, he should be back for spring training, and then I'm going to try to minor league rehab assignment him if I can. But then he's a bullpen guy. He's never going to be a starter again. If I cut him, that's 33 million that he's owed. Let's ask ourselves a very important question. Oops. Does the fault tell me contract? No. Financial info does. Okay. Who is on a 1-year deal that is decently expensive? Answer: an injured Shane Bieber. Good God. What if I try this? Let's try some mathematics out for a second. Freeland for Walker. I retain 75%. Well, we literally can't afford that. I retain 50? 10 million. Oh, no, okay. Dang. All right, never mind. My mathematics plan dead in the water. Why is he on the trade block? I'm not going to ask questions. Maybe his personality. The return of Elias Diaz. It has been foretold. Oh yeah, that should actually be the first thing I look at. Who can afford him? So I need a team with a budget space of like, let's just say 7 million. Braves have 6. Royals. Hey Orioles, how desperate are you to win now that you will take Mr. Freeland? In exchange, listen, you just got Kyle Tucker. You don't need all of these outfielders. I say that they have like 4. They have Kobe Mayo at first base. How do you do this year? He didn't do that bad, to be fair. Um, if I say I want Dylan Carlson, got to hit the retain button. That would have helped. Man. Mm. We'll see. Woodruff. Excuse me? Now, when you say their deal is around 25.3 million, okay, he meant total. For a second, I thought he meant per year, and I was about to cry. Um, I mean, this is fine. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna increase the buyout to 1.5 million, and make it 27 total. He wants 30. If you said the Cardinals offer you 25 and you want 30, imagine lying. Two years, 29. Fine. Huh? No, 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 no. That's not how it works. You can't increase the buyout and say that's what I want, and then turn around and say, actually, I want 32 million. Get out. Get out. Get out. We're done here. We're done here. No. No. On principle, no. All right, let's pivot. Chris, what do they want? Carrig is tempting. I'm not giving up Molina. I'm not giving up Romero. I mean, I don't want to keep trading my outfield depth, but like, kind of just where we're at. What if I trade 2 like not great prospects? Like if I gave them Jared Thomas, doesn't really move the needle. They want one of those guys. Okay. Um, I think on balance, I'd rather give up Sterling Thompson. Thompson, though, can also play the infield, which could point. I mean, Carrick can as well. He just has less experience with it. Let me compare those two really quick. So all I care about is potential. Potential. I mean, they're practically identical. I would prefer Carrick against lefties. Carrick's got a lot more speed. Defensively, Carrick is the I think we trade Thompson. Done. Oh, fan interest increases noticeably for Chris. Okay. And don't get me wrong, we're paying Chris a decent amount of money. Like he's getting paid 6 million. However, let me see if he's still on my recent players. He is. If you compare him to Woodruff, don't get me wrong, Woodruff is much better, especially in terms of stuff and like potential stuff, but he's not worth, the 12 million more that Woodruff wanted. So, all right, Chris is he also satisfies that lefty requirement that we wanted. So he is now star number 2. And then I saw there was a trade proposal from the Pirates. They want to send me, Brian Hayes as a McMahon replacement. I mean, the main issue is this staring down the barrel of half of the 42 million remaining. They want Veen and Luigi Casilla. Casilla's fine. Eh, I mean, the 45i is a bit annoying, but he's got 55 avoid Ks, which really helps because McMahon was a strikeout magnet this past season. Okay, plate appearances and at bats are honestly comparable. So obviously Hayes has no power, thus RBIs were down. Walks also down. Ks weren't as bad. A little bit of speed. OPS of 586 is genuinely awful. I don't know if Hayes is the solution to our third base worries. I like Colkerg though. Can I get him to retain any of it? So they'd retain about 2 million for the first 4 years. Is that worth losing Colkerg? I think the answer is no. Like I don't know how is his yeah, he's fine defensively. Did he get the gold glove this year? He did. Hmm. I mean, he just didn't hit this year. Like his OPS was a 466 in May. Like he had a hot September, and that's the only reason his numbers look anywhere near what they do. I think we pass. I'm gonna pass on this, I think, for now, and may come back. I mean, if we don't get Bregman, obviously, then we need a third baseman immediately. But I don't know if Brian Hayes is that solution. I really need Kyle Freeland to just go. All right, Rule 5 draft. First, let's hit the save button, as I've realized I haven't done that in a good minute. All right, the Orioles want to send me Austin Owen and Brady Ramirez for Turnbull. I don't want to give up Turnbull. Like, especially for two not so great outfield prospects. All right, Rule 5 draft. So, what's my double A? It's Hartford and Albuquerque. So, all players in the Rule 5 draft pool How many from Albuquerque are there, and do I need to save anyone? And Kiel Fernandez should probably be added to the 40 man. I'll save him. Benny Montgomery, I'm going to be honest. If anyone picks him up, so be it. No one else I'm really worried about there. Hartford is like the entire team. But I'm okay if someone takes Herrera. All right, let's do the Rule 5 draft. I've protected who I want to protect. Who you want, White Sox? They took a guy who is recovering from Tommy John. Fair enough. You know what? I'm not going to question the White Sox. Is there any just insane overall guys available? Oh boy. The answer to that is no. So there's a handful of 55 potential guys. Herbo Gonzalez, to be fair, doesn't look that bad. That Cole, we have guys like Zach Cole and Michael Blice. No. I think realistically, third base is really the only thing worth going for in the Rule 5 draft. How you leave. Might not be a bad shot. He's not great defensively. How is he with the Mud Hens? They played him mainly at. Oh, he was with the West Michigan Mark. Never mind. So it looks like he was played mainly at second and wasn't great. He filled in at third and short and did okay. How does Mr. Lee compare to Owen Miller? That might be worth it. I mean, essentially, with how you Lee, you're banking on, he's going to be 23 when the season starts. Not great defensively, but he can give me a decent amount of. Juan Brito is also available. This would be more of a sure thing. I can play you anywhere on the diamond and be okay with it. Luke Adams isn't worth it. How does Brito compare with how you lead? And for this, I only really care about potential. Brito gets me a little bit better power, better eye, worse against lefties, similar speed. Defensively, he's objectively better. But how Yuli is also essentially 1 year younger. Honestly, let's do it. Let's bring How Yuli in. Granted, he may not even make the team. So let's just auto pick to Colorado. Any of my guys gone yet? No. Oh, Runzi Contreras went. I don't think we need anything else, realistically. Like, even if we want to bank on like the high potential guys, we don't have room in the roster for him. Even like a Maddox Bruns, who probably in a few years is going to be okay. Not worth it. So yeah, I think we're just gonna auto sim the rest of the Rule 5. And none of our guys were taken. Cool. What? So we obviously cut Herman Marquez at the end of last year. He signs on a minor league deal with the Tigers, and the Athletics just scooped him up in the Rule 5. I'm not going to question it. All right, but we got how you lead. I like that a lot. I think the thing that gives me pause is simply that defensively he's not great. And for whatever reason, the AI didn't put him in Toledo until the end of the season. But that is what it is. I like how you lead. I think him and Owen Miller can compete for that backup infield spot. All right, so far, really, we're just waiting to hear from Bregman and Michael King. I'm going to go ahead and just rescind my offer for Tommy Canley. And that's essentially all we're waiting on. Trade proposal. They want to send me some prospects. Marcus Morgan, who, I mean, good stuff, bad control, not great movement is not a good combination. Francisco Loreto is the worst hitting prospect I've ever seen. That's just an easy no. Yeah, a lot of teams want Turnbull, and they wanted 3.4 in cash. What in the world, Phillies? What in the world? The Tigers want to send me Torque. No. Like, no. IRL? Sure. But in-game, Torkelson is terrible, and the AI plays him at right field, so he doesn't develop at first base. No. We got Alex Bregman. We got Bregman. Fan interest increases noticeably. And Alex Bregman is a Colorado Rocky 6-year, $126 million deal, which I must admit, a bit, though I think compared to what he'll probably get in real life if he opts out of the Red Sox deal, he'll get a lot more than this. So 25 million year one, 23, 2020 in his age 35 season, and then a team opt out before his age 36 season, and then a player opt out before his age 37 season. I'm operating under the assumption that either he retires after 2029 or we pay him his buyout. So realistically, we're paying for 4 years of Alex Bregman, which I think is fine. He has a no trade clause. However, he will consider a trade to those teams right there. But yeah, I think that's, yep, done. Yep. I mean, third base wasn't our big need going into the offseason, but I think Kyle Tucker essentially lampooning us didn't help that. Bregman wants to hit cleanup. So, very simple. Yoink. Yeah. So it'll go whoever we decide to hit lead off. Estrada, Chris Bryant, Bregman, Toglia behind him. I think that works. Do I want Brenton Doyle to hit lead off? Answer, not really. It was not the man's wheelhouse, it must be said. It must be said. And Hunter Goodman, I just need to find a spot for. But that can figure out. All right, we get Bregman. There we go. Signed, sealed, and delivered. So we're still waiting to hear back on Michael King. Hopefully he gets back with us before the calendar year turns. And there we go, right on cue. Michael King signs on a 3-year, $34.5 million deal. 12.5 year one, 12 year two, and then a player opt out if he wants it, or else he gets $10 million in 2028. That'll play. That'll play. All right. That is our rotation. Our rotation is now set. Michael King is going to be our number one. He's going to be our ace. He is going to be our opening day starter. Chris Bubich behind him. Turnbull, Sean Burke, and then Bobby Miller rounding out the rotation. Bullpen is also set. So now the only thing that needs to happen the rest of this offseason is this man, Kyle Freeland, needs to get moved. That is literally it. The Pirates want to send me Brian Reynolds. Where was this offer 2 months ago? But no, Reynolds was making way too much money. Granted, he's, don't get me wrong, really, really good. He's making too much money. Like, come on. No, no, no. All right, I'll sim until January 1st just to see if anything exciting happens until then. Looks like the answer is no. Brandon Woodruff goes to the Atlanta Braves. Again, Brandon, I offered you more money. Not only did I offer more money, I offered him a bigger buyout on the team option. You silly Woodruff. Could have come here, buddy. You could have joined us. But maybe the deciding factor was he just didn't want to pitch at Coors Field, which, fair. All right, January 1st has arrived. Let me save really quick. So, in terms of what we wanted to accomplish this offseason, a big thing with the lineup was decide if Ryan McMahon was going to be our third baseman next year and upgrade at the outfield position. I think we decided McMahon wasn't the answer, and we signed Alex Bregman. I think that is an easy upgrade and a win, even on a very team-friendly contract, I think, overall. Alex Call, I think, is an upgrade over Sean Bouchard, but not the biggest upgrade ever. So it'll likely just be a straight competition for right field between Call, Zach Veen, and Jordan Beck. Whoever wins that gets the job. And then one of those two in Veen and Beck will get sent to AAA. If Alex Call just sucks, I might just cut him. Hao-Yu Lee, I think upgrades are backup infields. Losing Ryan Ritter hurts, especially considering how well he played last season, but Hao-Yu Lee is just objectively better as a hitter. Defensively, he leaves much to be desired, but I think as a hitter, that'll do. That's pretty much the lineup set. Really, the only question is right field. Alec Thomas, I think, is going to get left field. He's going to get the lion's share of opportunity to see if he is going to be our left fielder of the future. Pitching, we wanted to get two starting pitchers, one of whom is a lefty. We get Chris Bubich from the Royals. $6 million, I think, is fine. He got a lot of Ks, 9 Ks per 9, good whip, good BABIP last year. We're going to need to not really spend any more money in free agency, so we have money available for extensions, and Chris could be a very easy extension candidate if he pitches well. Another area of concern, he only has 40 stamina, so that could come back to bite us, but obviously the big get is Michael King, who didn't do great with the Padres last year. I think that's why I was able to get him for so cheap. 12.5 this year, 12 and then 10. I think it's a steal from Michael King. He's definitely a starter. I know the Yankees obviously had him out of the bullpen. Padres made him a starter. He is our starter. He is our ace, for crying out loud. So I think our very nice looking rotation now. And then bullpen, obviously, trading for Felix Bautista. He's our closer. Like, his personality class is selfish, which is very annoying, but he's our closer. Done. No debate about it. He still has, I think, 1 year of arbitration left. So, he's our closer for a couple years at the very least. That does mean Molina is going to surrender the closing job, which I think is fine. He got 20 saves last year, which is very respectable, but whip was pretty high, struggled to strike guys out. I think it's fine to move him to a less stressful, setup role. Angel Zerpa, I think, gives us a okay bullpen option. He doesn't have great stuff, which I think is why you get the very high BABIP and WHIP that he had last year with the Royals. We'll see. He could be a guy that I move to AAA, especially if Jeff Criswell does very well in spring training. Zerpa could go to AAA. We'll see. And so those are really the big additions. I think the one that could come back to bite us in a way is if Bautista kind of flames out for whatever reason this year, then not only have we given up Ryan Ritter, one of our better hitters last season, who also kind of put us in a hole and for that bullpen. But other than that, I think all the signings we made pretty low risk. In terms of offseason summary by team, we have gained 4.6 WAR, 2.6 from Chris, 2.3 from Bregman, 2.2 from Bautista. Obviously, the big loss is Ryan Ritter off to the Orioles. He was worth 2.4 WAR last year, but he was going to be a backup infielder this year. And while I will always appreciate the year he gave us, his ratings weren't great, which means there might be some regression coming in Baltimore, but Ryan Ritter will be one who is missed. Other than that, pretty successful offseason, I think, all things considered so far. Didn't really give up anything too crazy. We still have, about 11 million remaining for free agents. We don't really have that many needs. I think I might poke around for some high potential minor league guys. Luis Yajirme is still considering my minor league offer, which would be lovely if we could get him in our system just as a break glass in case of emergency infielder. But that is the offseason so far in January. Really, the only big to-do list is finding someone who will take on Kyle Freeland's contract because there is no spot in the rotation for him now. It does not exist. So we will see how that looks. I'm a little hesitant to trade him before spring training in case one of these 5 guys get injured. But if they do, I would rather see Gabriel Hughes get a few starts than Kyle Freeland. So I'll try to move him. I'll go through the rest of the offseason and spring training probably off stream, and then start next episode with the beginning of the 2026 season. We'll see what happens. Pretty exciting. I think overall a great offseason. I think that's even with not, Alex Bregman immediately improves our offense. Alex Call is an upgrade over Bouchard, I think. Michael King, Chris Brubich, objectively upgrades over Scott Randall and Kyle Freeland. So, very good offseason, I would say. Bregman, by the way, rated as the 8th best third baseman. Bautista, 4th best closer. Michael King, 24th rank in the starting pitching. Alex Call, 25th at right field. So upgrades there, certainly. We'll see how it looks next season. Thank you all for watching. I know year 1 of the save didn't go particularly well. That goes without saying. But hopefully year 2, we're able to take a big jump. Improved offense, improved ace, so we can start to move in the right direction. So I will see you all later this week. Go Rockies.